Sierra.
We are not sponsored by Sierra Nevada. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Techegy podcast. Today, we are doing a spooky episode, even though we are a little bit late for Halloween. But this episode of Player Name, we are doing Grabbed by the Ghoulies. We'll be right back. I still have not fixed that 5-second pause at the beginning of that intro, but that's all right. So Grabbed by the Ghoulies was released on I don't even have the information pulled up here. Look at me. I don't even know what I'm doing. Does anybody know when it was released? 2003.
October 21st, 2003.
2003. Right at Halloween. Yeah, right? For the Xbox, the only console that it was on at the time for the Xbox. Yeah, at the time. So as we do here, what'd you think?
I played it when it first came out. Originally, it was supposed to be a GameCube game. It was the first game that Rare did for Microsoft. It was when Microsoft bought Rare. They had to divest all the Nintendo stuff, and it was a game already in development. And it kind of felt that way. I mean, it felt like a game that wasn't, to me, it was a fun game, but it was obvious, there's no talking in it. And, it felt like a Nintendo game. It had that feeling to me. Now, was it a fun game? Yeah, it was. It had, to me, it had at the time some just gorgeous graphics. It was, it had some scary things. I mean, it wasn't, it's not like a Resident Evil or anything like that. It has the sense of humor of Rare. That was the one thing I noticed with the game. M2 was pretty young when the game came out. Obviously, he was you were pretty young, 5. So, what was your memory of that game? I know it definitely made an impact on you because it was one of the first games that it came out a couple of years after Xbox, the original, came out. What was your thoughts?
So at the time, it scared the ever-living daylights out of me, to the point where I avoided zombie media for about another 7 years. This game was terrifying at the time because the graphics were really good. It controlled kind of terribly. I think they fixed it for the Rare replay. It feels different, at least from what I remember. Of course, I haven't played the original one since I was 5. But I remember having a lot of issues controlling it, and that kind of played into the spook factor of it. But going back and playing it now, it's a Rare horror game. You're kind of in it for the charm. It's not going to be the most mechanically deep game, right? The deepest game they've ever put out, I think, is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. But it's not crazy complex, but it's the type of game that it's going to make you jump a few times, and that you can't even say that about some of the modern horror games. So it's a special place in my heart. I won't be playing it often, but if I was going to pick one game to play around Halloween, I mean, it's a decent pick. At least that's my take. But again, I was 5 when it came out.
Yeah, I was 13 when it came out, and I didn't even play it then. I don't think I played it for years later, but it does have its jump scares in it, right? Like the game focuses on that. And my background is one of the first introductions you get to the jump scares is when you first enter that hallway and you have all the hanging creatures up on the wall, which, by the way, all of the other creatures up there are from other Rare games. Mm-hmm. Right? They've incorporated that in the game. And there's the stupid jump scares, which actually got annoying for me. And I just punched my mic out of anger. But
that annoying that you're gonna
it got annoying to me because every single time you would go to leave a room or enter a room or go down a hallway, there was always like a blob that would fall from the sky or like this tentacle creature that come out the doors, and your character would stand there and be like, ah! And you have to like hit all the directions and numbers that pop up so that he doesn't have a heart attack. And it became so frequent that like I was getting mad every time that it happened.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool. It was fun at first, like when you were going down the hallway and stuff. It was like, oh, haha, jump scares. And then it got to the point where it was like, this is like, why is this guy still freaking out? He's already dealt with this 100 times now in this mansion, that he's going through.
So it kind of felt like when you were like ET and you fell in the pit. It was the first time, but after about the third, you were like, I'm done.
It was also you'd finish a room and you'd do all the little, I'm gonna say like mini games required to beat some of the monsters, and you'd come out of it with full health, and then you'd be trying to leave the room, and then you'd get jump scared while you're trying to take a drink of your beer or something. You'd lose a heart, and it would be like, I shouldn't have lost that. Like, there's no reason I should have taken damage.
And that's on top of Baron von Ghoul already scrambling your health. Every time you'd go into a new room, your health would either go up, down, and all over the place. And there's certain parts of the game that got on my nerves. And one of them is when you're in the furnace area and there's all these mummies, and the only way you could kill the mummies in the game was to catch them on fire. You couldn't just beat them up. So you had to kick these mummies into this furnace in the center of the room. So while you're doing that, all of a sudden there's like 500 enemies in this room coming at you. And then, but you can't attack them with weapons. You can't do this, or the Grim Reaper comes after you. So now you're running around in circles away from this Grim Reaper that's like walking around with his finger out, trying to ET phone home your ass. Wow. While you're trying to kick these mummies into a furnace. I think it was a cool concept that you had to do certain tasks a certain way, or else the Grim Reaper would come out and you had to avoid the Grim Reaper. But after you've done that like 12, 13, 14, 15 times, it starts to get pretty old. And also the girlfriend Amber is extremely unappreciative of any of your efforts. She gets turned into like this mutant. You fix her and she still doesn't even give a shit about you.
So
I didn't want to save her.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to kill her by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like I wanted Baron von Ghoul to just, I don't know, whatever he was going to do with her.
No, I think the worst problem is that they made the left stick the directional stick and the right stick with direction you had to kick. Other than that, none of the other stuff bothered me that much. Just why wouldn't you just have a directional and press an A button to kick or something like that? I mean, other than that, I think the game's great. I mean, I love the cartoon style beginning. The way they, they do all the, it's like a cartoon.
I like the comic
it's like a comic book.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's like a comic book. Yeah. And then I didn't really have a problem like you guys did where, the things hurt, mobbed you and everything else, but I didn't have a problem with any of the different types of them or any of the different missions, really. I just didn't like that you would die sometimes because you couldn't kick the right direction or something, And the jump scares, well, I learned real quick you were able to, solve your health problem there. I forget what button it was you pushed or whatever, but, if you just rapidly pushed that, and sometimes I didn't even do that, and I still didn't die. It would just take away some health, or something. But
you progressively had to hit different buttons.
Yeah, well, they flashed them on the screen, right? I mean, I don't think anybody likes them type of games, but I didn't have a problem hitting them at the right time. Some games I'm not even close to hitting them. You know what I mean? Some they get so fast you can't even figure it out. So.
I think you can tell though that this was meant to be a GameCube game. Like it feels more like a GameCube game than it does an Xbox game.
I mean, the controls felt like GameCube. Felt more like GameCube than Xbox. Just the controls to me felt like more like a GameCube game.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it really kind of reminds me of kind of like an Xbox answer to Luigi's Mansion, because of the way it was released. Because it's comic book style. You're walking around, kind of procedurally unlocking different areas. trying to rescue someone. So it kind of, I know that they were developed kind of for the same system and then ended up splitting. But I think that could be a pretty easy comparison to draw.
Yep.
But definitely two different games. Like Luigi's Mansion never gave me nightmares, never made me afraid of ghosts, but this definitely made me afraid of zombies.
Well, I did like that you could bust just about everything in the game. You break things and you find keys in them or whatever. You could pick up chairs and hit the ghost with them or whatever. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was trying to find anything I could to pick up and hit them with it, instead of having to try to kick them, because I thought it was easier to hit them than to kick them,
Yep.
So
then consume some soup.
Yeah.
Different kinds of soups.
Yes.
Yep. I want to know why Crivens, the butler of this place, like this place is like evil, run by the evil Baron von Ghoulies, but then there's Crivens, the butler, who's like kind of a good guy, and he's like guiding you through all this, but he's a little bitch. He hides and just like, well, come through the door and I'll help you down the the hallway.
Yeah, he was a little out of place, so
it was just kind of random, like.
Well, he was.
But then like a lot of the other characters in the game were good. Like the cook, was good, and even like the little skeleton dude that you spend like an hour trying to beat the shit out of to get that what was it, the key off of the assistant chef skeleton guy, and then when you get back, it's like, oh, he was helping you. I sent him to help you. Well, why didn't you tell me, Crivens? Why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, it was Mr. Ribs, right?
Yeah, Mr. Ribs. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I think originally they said it was supposed to be an open world game, and they had to, because of the timeline, close it down. I think I read somewhere when I was doing some of the research on the game is that they actually rushed it a little bit at the end. Even the name was kind of funny. I don't know if you guys looked at where the name came from. I was trying to see if I can find it, so I'm quoting it perfectly. But it's British humor.
Well, Rare is over there, right?
Yeah. Rare is British. They said the idea of the game began with the name, which is a pun on Ghoulies, spelled Goolis, which is a British slang for testicles, of all things.
Oh.
I mean, that's from Wikipedia. That I'm not making up.
Well, if you play Rare Replay and you watch some of you beat some of the games and you watch some of the videos, they do have a lot of crude humor,
that kind of sense of humor.
Yeah, in fact, Rare Replay is very, very worth the money. It's actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
So but
speaking
but I really
of
like
which, when Rare Replay was released, IGN said this about Grabbed by the Ghoulies. They said it failed to withstand the test of time and described it as very boring. Eurogamer also said that this was Rare's slump period. It was particularly awkward gear change for Rare.
No, I thought it was very inventive, this game. I mean, different rooms, you did different things. I mean, it constantly kept changing, and I don't know, how would that be boring?
It felt unfinished to me. Honestly, it felt...
Yeah, I think there was an air of unfinished. Yeah,
compared to their other games, it felt like it was rushed, which would make sense if Microsoft had just bought them. It was in development. They had to get something out, which it kind of makes sense. It felt like they didn't up it, and it felt like they cut. If it was supposed to be open world, this is, like I said, I'm trying to see where I read that, but it seemed like they kind of contained the game a little bit. Not saying it's a bad game, and I know that some of the characters on the walls that are behind UJC, some of that stuff in some of those rooms are stuff that they were going to put in the game, but didn't because they ran out of time. I saw an interview with one of the developers, and he said there's stuff in the game that we were going to, on the walls and in some of the rooms, that we were going to put in the game as characters, but we didn't have time.
I liked seeing Banjo and Kazooie up on the walls with their heads mounted there, the bird, right? There are a lot of inside Rare references in the game, which is always fun when games kind of like, do that introspective, making fun of themselves. So in 2004, the game was nominated for Console Family Game of the Year and Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition. But The Sims Busting Out won the Console Family Game of the Year, and Medal of Honor Rising Sun beat it for the original music composition. I think the music in the game is good.
Yes,
it is.
It's very good, as a matter of fact.
Not a big fan so much of the sound effects in the game, though, especially with like the little goblin things, the little purple goblins, where they're always like me, but there's a sound effect in the game, and I wanted to talk about this, and I forgot to write it down. The imps, yes.
The imps. The ninja imps.
When you destroy or kill a character and it dies, it makes that noise, right? And I spent so much time trying to figure out what that sound effect was from. Does anybody know what it's from?
No.
None. No guess.
Something from Banjo-Kazooie?
No.
Dead silence.
Well, you gonna tell us, or
no? Because I don't remember. It was while I was playing the game. It like clicked in my head what the sound effect was from.
Which sound effect was it?
It's when the bad guys die, like when they poof and disappear. It makes that like doo noise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I shouldn't even talked about it since I don't remember, because I had it the other day. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I know this sound.
Yeah.
I know what this is from. Now I don't remember. So if I remember, I'll put it in the description. No.
I don't know. I thought there was a good variety and everything. I mean, you had Medusa, you had a pirate, you had the zombie pirates, you had the Hunchback, you had Fiddleworth, the groundskeeper. I don't know what else there was. There was a bunch of others. I mean,
the groundskeeper,
the Reaper.
And you can put some time in this game too. It's not like a 3-hour game. Like you can get some time out of it.
Yeah, I mean it's on Game Pass, so it's definitely worth checking out. There's a few games on Rare Replay that are worth checking out.
Yeah. I mean, the two worst things is probably the joystick control there and the 4-button scare thing. I mean, that's the two worst things I thought. So, I mean, everything else seemed all right. I mean, it's I just like that they kept changing things up a little bit every other room or every room or so. Which some games, you do so many things and it's just like that the rest of the way through the game.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say if you have at Game Pass, it's definitely worth trying if you're into that type of game. I don't think I'd buy Game Pass for it, and I don't think I'd buy Rare Replay off the Xbox store for $30 for it.
Right.
But if I was interested in like any of the Banjo-Kazooies to play it on a console with HDMI, and I was thinking about buying them independently, I'd buy Rare Replay in that case. I don't think it's worth the full price of Rare Replay, but it's definitely worth playing.
Not for that one game.
I think not for that one game.
No, for that one game.
No, I'm saying it's not worth buying Rare Replay for one game.
No,
but
there's
so many games in there.
Yeah, there's stuff on that Rare Replay.
There's
in
tons.
my opinion, you got Battletoads on there. You got Battletoads Arcade. You got Killer Instinct Gold.
You got two or three Banjo-Kazooies.
Perfect Dark and Perfect. To me, Perfect Dark Zero was a great game. Even one of the games, M2, you played a lot. Viva Pinata and Viva Pinata in Paradise, which I think were very underrated.
Again, I didn't say I didn't think Rare.
No, I agree.
I said I wouldn't buy it for Grab by the Ghoulies.
Grab by the Ghoulies.
I'd buy Rare Replay for Viva Pinata. alone.
Yes.
Like if I was going to buy it, I would buy it for Viva Pinata 100% just to play.
I mean, Rare Replay has so
Banjo-Kazooie,
many.
same thing. But
It has so many of them little arcade games too that if you like the old retro arcade games, there's got to be at least 50 of them on there.
If I didn't catch that, it's got Conker's Bad
It does.
Fur.
Bad Fur. I
That's
was
what
just
it-
gonna say Conker's Bad Fur
I
Day.
mean,
Yep.
That's
It
what
is
you
a-
should be buying is Rare Replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on Game Pass, Rare Replay?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And
Yeah.
Conker's Bad Fur Day was one of those games that my parents was like, "Oh, this is an innocent game. Let's buy it for our child." Oops.
Yeah. See,
Pretty
I
sure
still-
they drop an F-bomb in that game, don't
Oh
they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the beginning of it basically.
Well, yeah, they're just getting their brains blown out.
Yeah, it's basically the beginning of Saving Private Ryan.
Private Ryan,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's yeah. I mean, I still on that thing, I still that pass. Rare Replay. I'm still, like I said, Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero are still two of my favorite games. I mean,
Well, I think
Well,
Perfect Dark
right?
Zero never got the coverage that it should have.
Never
Perfect
did.
Dark did. Yeah.
what's the first like 360 game that has where you can change into like a little ball that you roll
Cameo.
around and you change into like 3 or 4 different characters to get through like a platformer?
Cameo.
What?
Cameo.
Yeah, Cameo's
Yeah.
on there too, right?
no.
Yeah.
Cameo
Oh,
wasn't
the characters on there, are they?
No, I'm looking at it. No, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
Cameo's
Cameo,
Cameo's on there too, which is a good
Cameo
game.
is on there.
That's what I said.
forgot
Rare
that was a
Replay
rare
is
game.
fabulous. I mean,
Oh, I agree. I think Rare Replay is worth it. I would not pay $30 to just play Grab by the Ghoulies.
wow.
I will.
Especially
I will
when-
die on
so-
that hill.
You can get
But you're
a
getting
decent,
it for like you're getting like for 25 cents on there.
100% agree. If I was buying the pack to play all the games, or even 5 of them, 3 of them, 2 of them, sure. But I would not spend $30 just to play Grab by the Ghoulies.
Yeah, you wouldn't buy Grab by the Ghoulies if you walked into a game store, but you'd buy Rare Replay.
I bought Grab by the Ghoulies, which I didn't realize I already had a copy of it, so now I have 2. But I bought it off eBay for $6.
How
That's
about
worth
again,
$6.
$6 versus
$6 free shipping. $6.
Yeah.
So if this right here is the best way to rate Grab by the Ghoulies. So if you bought Rare Replay, what would be the first game you would play when you put it?
Either Banjo-Kazooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day.
MC?
Yeah, them too. But Grab by the Ghoulies is up there for me. I like haunted games, stuff like that, so it's up there for me.
M2?
All right, so I definitely played Grab by the Ghoulies first on the Rare Replay when I bought it a few years ago. It was
so
mostly to
truth
see
comes
if it was still as scary as it was when I was 5. But for me, it was Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, because that was a game I played a bunch as a child.
Yeah.
So for me, Battletoads.
Oh yeah,
And obviously,
yeah.
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
So everything unconsidered with those, what are our opinions on Grabbed by the Ghoulies, just as the game itself? Thumbs up, thumbs down, up.
What does it
Up.
cost?
Up.
Is it?
Well, if you have Game Pass, it doesn't cost. It's just part of
No,
it.
but if you were to buy it outright,
If you were to buy just
Like
that
I said,
game,
on eBay it's like $6.
$6.
Okay.
It's worth.
is
$6.
it worth $6? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
worth
worth
it.
$6.
Is it worth 30 to get it as part of the collection on Rare Replay?
Not just for it now.
No, not just for it, but as part of the $30 to
Oh, of
get all the
course, yeah.
games. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
it's
worth
definitely
$30
worth
But
or
if
whatever
you can,
it is today. Whatever it is.
I will say I would rather buy a physical copy of Rare Replay though for $30 than the digital one.
So would I.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I have.
I would pay $30 for that copy of it for sure.
Yeah, this copy right here.
That one
Exactly.
right-
I got mine behind me.
Yeah, I got mine
One
too.
of these.
Yeah.
All right. Final
Mickey?
words.
Final words. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was a low B, high C to me.
I mean, hey, once you get used to the 2-stick controls, it ain't that bad. It just takes
No,
time.
it's not bad. But would you
Yeah.
play something else instead of it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd play Splatterhouse on Genesis 1, 2, or 3 before I'd play that.
Luigi's Mansion 1, 2, or
Luigi's
3.
Mansion, absolutely.
Mr. Do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
mean,
I would not play the game we reviewed last year, the Frankenstein on the Atari 2600.
Ew.
Would not play that before it. I would play Ghoulies
Thing called
first.
Poopy Stein.
I'd play Ghoulies for 3 hours straight before touching Shaq Fu again.
But you notice what you guys you notice what you guys are doing though. You're comparing this to like the top haunted games for kids, you know.
I just compare it to an
Haunted
Atari 2600 game.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you did that, but you also said, hey, you know, you'd play it maybe after you played.
No, I said Splatterhouse.
I said
yeah.
Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Imagine.
Splatterhouse that came out 10 years before.
Yeah, but that's a total gore game for adults. And this one's kind of for everybody.
Splatterhouse was
fact-
PG-16.
In fact, it's E for everyone. Splatterhouse is kind of.
Splatterhouse
Everyone
was
should not have
PG-16,
included
wasn't it?
5-year-olds.
What's that? What's that, Mem?
I said, Splatterhouse was on TurboGrafx 16, wasn't it?
It was on TurboGrafx 16 and then on Genesis, yeah.
Yeah. So, M2, what'd you say?
But
Well,
But does
I
that have
said
a
E
teen
for
rate?
everyone shouldn't have included 5-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, you were that game traumatized you as a kid.
That one and Monster Madness Battle for Suburbia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that game got me. 2 years later. No, 4 years later. But I was
You were
8
just
or 9.
set up for like
He's wearing
emotional
a
trauma.
Halloween shirt. Do you not think I saw horror movies and horror games earlier than I should have? Sorry, a Halloween 2 shirt. Let me get it correct.
Hey,
My
the
bad.
The
think
moment
most
I could
kids
show
do
you
games
Die
before
Hard,
they
I
should.
did. Yeah.
Most
All
kids
right,
see
guys.
games before they should, whether it be their parents or their friends that show it to them.
Yeah.
But it was E. Grabbed by the Ghoulies was E for everyone.
So was
It's
Shrek,
true.
and it was a launch title.
Yeah, we won't go there.
we
We've
did
already went
review.
there.
Which we did review for this
We did.
channel.
Yes,
I mean,
we
come
did
on.
last year.
It's no different than Scooby Dooby Doo, other than the jump scares.
You know what? I'll give you that Luigi's Mansion, comparing it to the Creme de la Creme, right? For the, what was it, Monster Madness, Scooby Doo, Night of 100 Frights on the GameCube, I would rather play that than Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Well,
And it's
I'll
not
give
that
you that
Ghoulies
too.
is a bad game.
Well, wait a minute. That is a good game. The Scooby Doo game is a very good game.
Ruby, Roo.
It's a very good game.
Yeah, it is. Too bad.
All right.
I don't know. They don't have it on a newer system.
Yeah, that's one thing. It's a shame they haven't continued the Scooby Doo games because they actually were a lot of fun. Maybe that's something we should talk about on this channel. So if you think we should, put it in the comments.
Yeah,
And
or
hey,
don't.
give Grabbed by the Ghoulies the
don't.
credit it deserves. It's the only one of the ones we mentioned that you can get right now on modern hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we here at Techegy always say,
Stay
stay
nerdy,
nerdy, my
my
friends.
friends.
That's just the worst.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm always too fast.